will show you how to create an invoice, an expense invoice for the electricity or hot water bills or any bill of any kind. So normally those bills come through Zendesk in here, something very similar to what we have in here. So we receive this type of invoice, then we obviously pretty much download the invoice, and then we follow a process. So the process is pretty much explained in process street. So you'll see that if we generate, for example, or we create a checklist for that invoice, so we go to the utility bill section, then we run another checklist, and what we do is we name the bill associated to the property that we have. This bill in particular, it's for a property that I'm not going to be creating, but what we normally do is we simply go 30350 McLachlan, and then you put the period for which we are being invoiced for this bill. So we say in this case, it's going to be for the period between the 16th of June to the 30th, 16th of June to the 30th of June, 11th of June, 11th of June to the 30th of June 2018, and then we run the checklist. Once we are here in the checklist, it's going to indicate us what are the steps that we need to follow to complete this checklist. And the bill for the number one is create the bill folder on OneDrive. So now we're going to get into the bill that we are going to be creating. So this is the type of bill folder that we will create. In each of the properties, you're going to find a section that it's about bills. And then we have electricity bills, hot water bills, or whatever type of bills that it's required to be created in there. So pretty much we create the bill under the folder associated to the type of bill, and then we put the dates for which this bill is being invoiced. In this case, we add the bill here, so we save the bill in there, and then we can click some of the boxes. So create bill new folder, then save invoice inside the folder. Allocate a due date for completing this checklist. So when I'm referring about this, we say it must be 3 days before the bill payment due date. So in this case, we say due date, and this bill, for example, was due on the 11th of July. So we were meant to say the 16th of July. So we say 16th of July, we say save. If required, inform assistant to complete the checklist. So once this is done, we copy this template, and whoever is going to be the person allocated to do this, then we post this in the grid. So if, for example, we are talking about this property located on 2105, we're just simply going to post this information in here, and we're going to edit the information that we need to put, the bill type, and so on and so forth. Now we're not going to be doing that, but just it's pretty much what the process informs us about. Then we complete the task. In this case, it asks us to create the bill records in the system. So we go to Re-Leased, and in Re-Leased we access this section here, expenses. We need to click on expense, and once we are in here, we can click then new expense invoice. Once we get to this section, all what we need to do is select the property 2105. The tenancy associated, there is no tenancy associated. Who is invoicing us for this is WinConnect. So WinConnect. Then we need to issue, the issue date of the bill was on the 29th of June. That's the date that we need to allocate in here. And then the due date for paying this bill was the 19th of July. Let's confirm that information, that's correct. Once that is done, then with the reference that we use for this type of bills will be probably the account number followed, or let's check pretty much what we are doing with these bills, just to make sure that we are allocating the same reference that we are allocating for all others. So 2105, then we have, let's have a look at some of those bills. So electricity, for example. Let's access the last and most recent one. So the reference that we used was pretty much the property name plus the dates for which the invoice is being billed for. So we simply go in here and we do that. So we have 2105 in our Alfred electricity, and then we're just going to change the dates that we have been invoiced in here for. So this will be, again, the period is from the 1st of May to the 31st of May. So 1st May to the 31st, was it? Sorry for that, guys, just coming back to it. 31st of May, there you go, 2018. If we want, we can even put a reference of this bill in here. I'm just gonna be doing it from now on. It might help us once we are reconciling this expense. Then you copy and paste the same information in the description. Let's copy the whole thing. And then we say the price for this invoice was 68.88, 68.88, and then the account is electricity expense. The last thing that we need to do is to drag this invoice inside the folder, and then we have completed that. Then you go and say save and approve. Now the invoice is being generated.